Unaware of her fate, Dawn was convinced at a young age that she wanted to work as an animal trainer after visiting SeaWorld in Orlando with her mother and witnessing her first Shamu show at the venue. At that time, she had no idea of the challenges and rewards that lay ahead for her. Unknown of destiny's plans for her, she decided to make a career in animal training. In this video, we will find out what Orca Trainer Dawn Brancheau faced during the last minutes before her death. Was she a bad trainer, or did her trainee ditch her? Dawn studied psychology and animal behavior at the University of South Carolina, and then she spent 2 years with dolphins in a New Jersey attraction before landing a job at SeaWorld. As a child, Brancheau worked with otters and sea lions at Six Flags amusement parks before being transferred to SeaWorld in 1996 to work with orcas. She found that orcas rarely, if ever, attacked humans in the wild, and that the chances of this happening in captivity were very low. During her time with the orcas, she met Tilikum, the orca who became famous for killing a trainer and causing a media frenzy. Blackfish, or Tilikum, was initially caught in 1983 in Iceland. Although he was only 2 years old when he was taken from his family off the coast of Iceland, according to a trainer who worked in Sealand in the late 1980s, Tilikum was frequently attacked by 2 female orcas and would emerge from the water the following day with noticeable injuries. Tilikum's stomach ulcers were brought on by the intense stress, therefore he was quarantined in a hospital pool to avoid the assaults. Trainers at Sealand were given a manual written by Bruce Stevens, a former head trainer at SeaWorld. Stevens advised Sealand that if they didn't appropriately stimulate their creatures, the animals would do it on their own. In May 1989, biologist Eric resigned and reported the aquarium's safety problems to the Canadian Federation of Humane Societies, including his ominous premonition that someone would be seriously injured. He had a terrifying final warning. And unfortunately, his warning turned out to be true. A tragic incident occurred when a University of Victoria marine biology student and part-time trainer named Kelty Byrne, aged 20, slipped and accidentally fell into the orca pool. Tilikum and the 2 female orcas then attacked and assassinated her. Even though Tilikum had a notoriously bad reputation for aggression, the park kept him as part of its orca display since he was the largest orca in captivity in 1999. Despite his criminal past, Tilikum caused another mysterious death when he ran over a homeless person. On the day of the Shamu presentation, February 24, 2010, a terrible tragedy occurred while Tilikum and Dawn were performing at SeaWorld's Dining with Shamu show, where guests enjoyed an outdoor dinner accompanied by a live orca show. Tilikum was still on display at the park, and he brought in a lot of money for the company. Now, let's look at what actually happened in the show when Dawn participated. The 40-year-old trainer was at ease with the orca and had just stroked his nose, but what happened next left the public and the world in shock. Dawn lay with her face next to the orca, with whom she had spent countless hours and who had always treated her like a trusted companion. But when Dawn turned, Tilikum grabbed hold of her trainer and longtime friend. Witnesses claimed that Tilikum grabbed her ponytail and then pulled her into the water, after which he then started swinging her underwater in his mouth. According to other witnesses, however, she was dragged into the pool by her arm or shoulder. The trainer was quickly and violently pulled into the pool, after which she drowned. According to the autopsy, she was attacked by the orcas with such force that a portion of her scalp was forcibly pulled from the skull. The orca's violent motions fractured Dawn's lower jaw, part of her vertebrae, and several ribs. Her left arm was also torn from its socket, and Dawn was scalped with her hair and skin found at the bottom of the pool. Even though the other trainers tried to divert him with nets and food for 45 minutes, he continued to sit on the basin deck with Dawn's shattered body. Eventually, they managed to get him into a smaller medical pool where he was easier to calm, and he finally released the body of the trainer who had spent so much time with him. After Dawn's tragic accident, no SeaWorld trainer ever again went into a pool with an orca. No one knows why Tilikum made that decision to attack Dawn by grabbing and pulling her into the basin, and after Dawn's fatal accident, the orca remained at SeaWorld until he passed away from a lung infection in 2017. Tilikum spent most of his days after this violent attack in a pool that was rarely seen by the public. In August of 2010, SeaWorld was found guilty by OSHA for 3 safety breaches and fined $75,000, but the company still refused to accept responsibility for Dawn's death. So this was how a great trainer was ditched by her trainee. What are your views on this? Do let us know in the comments below.